from the time you started this team to now, 3 of the top 6 drivers and wins in the history of the World of Outlaws have driven your cars. That's not an accident. You look for guys, or you have guys that are motivated racers. But what does that mean to you to have the guy that won the most races in Steve Kinzer, Donnie Schatz, who still win in races, Danny Lasowski is in the top as well. To have those types of guys come out of your camp or have raced with you, what does that mean to you as a car owner?
Well, I think it makes me look like I'm really smart and brilliant as a car owner, but I'm not. I've just been surrounded by really good people, and having good partners, having good drivers, good crew members, crew chiefs have wanted to do this together, and we all have a common goal and common vision, and have a passion, have an equal passion for it. I think that's the part that's made us successful in it. But there's no one person or another that's going to make or break the deal. They can break it, but they aren't going to. One person's not going to make that program. It takes all the people together, and it doesn't matter if it's the person that's running the whole program on a day-to-day basis at the shop, or if it's the crew chief or the driver or the crew guys. Every one of those people are so important. This isn't, World Outlaw Sprint Car Racing, most of the teams have 3 guys on the road and a driver. So if you have one person that's having a bad day, that's 25% of your equation on the road. It's not like a factory where you might have 1,000 people working at a factory and you have one person that's having a bad day. It's fractional. It's 0.1%. So when you look at it from that standpoint, you realize that people are the most important factor in what we do in sprint car racing. Everybody has the same pieces and parts. So what makes the difference now are the people, and that's something that from day one I feel like we put a lot of emphasis on. It wasn't trying to have the fanciest equipment. It wasn't, there were drivers in the past that I remember Jason Myers talking about how, Casey Kane and I outspend everybody. We don't outspend anybody. We don't have anything different than what everybody else has. We just take what we have, and our guys put a little more attention into the details of each of those pieces and parts. But I remember the year that Jason Myers ran, and he was running for the points, and he was talking about how Casey and I outspent everybody, and his team tested 3 times as much as both of our teams tested that year, and they definitely outspent us that season and won the championship. But it's really about the people that you put in place in these organizations. And like I said, with such a small group, it's important that those guys get along, they work together well, that they all have a common goal that they're fighting for each week, and that they have each other's backs. And I feel like over the course of TSR, that's what we've been fortunate to have.
When you look back through, and obviously in your lobby, there's trophies upon trophies. You guys have accomplished so much. When you look back through the years, are there certain things that stand out that you'll recall a win this night or that championship that night, just because of circumstances? It was a close race, or it was a milestone or something. Are there a couple things that you think about when you think back through?
Yeah, I think you always, on the top of that list is always Knoxville Nationals wins and Kings Royal wins. I mean, those are, in my eyes, the 2 biggest ones of the year each year for us. But I think some of the ones that stick out the most, I mean, the year that we lost by 4 points to Casey's team with Brad Sweet, that probably sticks out more than some of the years we won a championship, because we were so close and literally missed it by 2 positions on the racetrack. And those are the things that, you celebrate the wins and the good moments, but at the same time, those moments where you're so close and you miss it, those almost are the fuel that motivate you to do a better job the next season.
Yeah, the driving moments to get you to the next one. When you put this team together and you guys won a championship almost right out of the box, did you, I don't know what your vision was back then for where you would be today, but could you envision all these wins, all these championships?
Not even close. Not even close. I mean, literally, TSR started at the Chili Bowl, I think at the end of the beginning of the 2000 season, I believe. And Lasowski and I had become friends the year before, and we got to Chili Bowl. And to me, I mean, that was, I hadn't really been to Knoxville for the Nationals yet, but still Chili Bowl, I think in my eyes, is still, as far as a single biggest event of the year, that's it, because you've got the best non-wing, the best wing, the best midget drivers. You got the best drivers that are at that track. And we showed up that year, and he wasn't in a very good mood. I'm like, best week of the year, and you're in a bad mood. What's going on? He goes, I don't even know if I've got a ride next year. He goes, Dennis hasn't called me yet. I'm like, don't you start in 2 weeks? He goes, yeah. All I have is a seat in one hand and my helmet bag in the other. I don't know what I'm doing. So that's how we started TSR. I said, well, what if we started a team together? And when we started, it was him and Jimmy Carr were super tight, and I liked Jimmy. I knew Jimmy's track record. I knew Dude's track record, and I felt like we could put a program together. You had the key ingredients. You had the crew chief and the driver. You just needed to give them the tools to do their job. But I don't think at that time we even knew what we were going to build and how TSR grew, not only from the wing side, but what we did with the USAC side as well, and ran both of them at the same time. But as the years have gone on, I don't think we've ever sat down and said, hey, this is a 5-year plan for TSR and what we're doing. I think we just sit there every year and we think a year at a time. And there's no finish line at the end of it. We're just sitting there going, all we worry about is this year, and then we get to the end of that year, we worry about the next season. And there's never been a 1, a 2, a 5, a 10-year plan down the road of this is where we want this to be. We just want to sit there every season and try to build great race cars, have good partners on board, and give our drivers and crew guys an opportunity to win as many races and championships as they can.
So over the last couple of years, you guys have basically started almost ground up. I don't know if that's a fair way to say it or not, but you guys have you've taken a team that's a championship winning team, and you've said, okay, we're going to rebuild it, we're going to go this direction. And now last season, over the last half of the year, you guys were the best car on tour, the most consistent car on tour, and you're going into 2022 with that kind of momentum. How hard is it to take that step, first of all, but then how rewarding is it to start seeing it come to fruition, your visions?
Yeah, I think it was the last couple of years in particular have been hard, the last 2 to 3 seasons. And, we started from the ground up with a new motor program with Ford, and great commitment from Ford's side and making sure that we get this exactly the way that we wanted. And when you've got Donnie Schatz as your driver, he is probably the most finicky driver when it comes to the motor program, but that's why he's successful too. Right. So I want that guy that's that picky and that finicky about what his motors feel like. And there's so many times that I've got in it and he's not been happy with it, and I've got in it and I've felt 10% of the stuff that he felt that he didn't like. And so that's why I got out of the car last year and put Kerry Madsen in the car. But working on the motor program has probably been the biggest key. I think we really started making gains midway through the season on it, and we're still making changes to it to try to get it right. But like you mentioned, the last half of the season, we saw our performance being more consistent, yep, starting to qualify better, run up front in the mains, and feel like that we're closing that gap to get back where we want to be and get this program where it needs to be.